We were both born in the same hospital.
1921.
7 days apart.
In the same hospital.
We both grew up one block away from each other, on the Lower East Side.
On Delancey Street.
My family moved to the Bronx when I was 10.
He lived on Fordham Road.
Hers moved when she was 11.
I lived on 183rd Street.
For 6 years, she worked on the 15th floor.
I worked for a very prominent
as a
neurologist.
nurse, where I had to
Dr.
practice
Bimmelman.
on the 14th floor, the very same building.
We never met.
Never met.
Can you imagine that?
You know where we met? In an elevator.
I was visiting family.
In the Ambassador Hotel in Chicago,
He was on the
Illinois.
3rd floor. I was on the 12th.
I rode up 9 extra floors just to keep talking to her.
9 extra floors.
Okay, so it all started when Harvey and I were in 7th grade, and I saw him. I think he was on a bus, but he said he's never been on a bus, probably in your life.
I've been on a bus, but I didn't go on a bus when I was in junior high.
Anyway, I saw Harvey, and from that moment, I fell in love with Harvey. And everyone knew, except Harvey, and I just waited until he
well, we
realized I was around.
We dated a little in high school,
Uh-huh.
and then we dated a little in college,
Mm-hmm.
and then between college and law school, I went off to Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and you stayed here. And while I was in Europe, I got some letters from a friend of ours who told me that Janet was dating some other people.
Person.
And at that point, I felt like I was losing a wonderful opportunity of being with you. And when I came back from Europe and Israel, I asked you if you'd come back. I didn't ask you if you'd marry me, but I did ask you if you would go back to Israel with me. I was going to forget about law school. And you basically said no.
I said no after reading Fear of Flying, my feminist book.
So we ended up, I went to law school, you went to UCLA, and
then we got married we got engaged 6 months later.
6 months later you got engaged, and we've been married for almost 35 blissful years.
Yeah.
So our story began when my family moved from New York to Los Angeles. I was in the middle of my sophomore year, and I started up at UCLA. Since I didn't know anyone in the area, I joined Hillel, and I soon met Lenny Eisenberg, who became a very good friend. Lenny was from the Los Angeles area. He was dating Barbara Manber from San Francisco. And they had decided when they graduated they would get married, which was going to be in August of 1967. And that's where Gail comes in.
And I met Barbara at Camp Ramah several years before that, and we became good friends long distance. And when I went up to San Francisco for school, her parents became my parents. And she came to UCLA, so my parents became her parents. And that summer, when I would come home in the summer, I would go to Israeli dancing at Hillel. And they introduced me to Miles that summer.
And the avowed reason for introducing us is that they had assigned Gail to be my escort for going up to the wedding. She showed me around San Francisco, all the great sights, and we went to the wedding and came back and had one date, which was a good date. Sparks started flying, but then I was off to graduate school for a year. So I did come back during the Christmas break and met with her in San Francisco for several days. And it wasn't until I got back from school that following June that we actually started dating in earnest. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Correct. And we're still together, and they said it would never last.
Well, he was a head counselor at the boys' camp, and I was a head counselor at the girls' camp. And they had a social one night, and he walked across the room. I thought he was coming to talk to my friend Maxine, because people were always crossing rooms to talk to Maxine. But he was coming to talk to me. And he said,
"I'm Ben Small of the Coney Island Smalls."
At that moment, I knew. I knew the way you know about a good melon.
So I was on Jdate for about 3 months. I got contacted by Jessica.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to join Jdate, so I was just kind of perusing online, created a quick profile with a friend, and actually found his profile. And I was like, God, there's actually, looks like normal guys on here. I was surprised and decided to just, you know, ping him and did the flirt. And I think that I realized that I wouldn't be able to respond or get any of his emails unless I joined. So I joined, and then I
had emailed her, but I never heard a response for weeks.
Yeah. So then when I joined, I saw that he had written me back, and I was really excited and realized that we had a lot of friends in common and similar interests, and then he asked me out on our first date. I knew it would happen, I just didn't know when, and he's so good with being creative, and I knew it would be something elaborate. I definitely didn't think it would happen like right now. Definitely not tonight, so.
And cut! Cut. We're gonna check for makeup.
Okay.
Nothing.
What are they doing?
Jessica would always think, oh, we should contact them, we're a success story, we should be featured. The whole idea is I wanted her to convince me to do it.
Once he started talking and saying things to me, then I was like, oh, he's in on something. And then he started telling me how much he loves me and wants to, you know, spend his life with me. And then I was like, click, I'm getting engaged. Holy cow, so.
Jessica?
Yeah?
When I'm with you, everything else, everyone else just seems to stand still. And I don't want that to end. Jessica?
Oh my God.
I love you. Will you marry me?
Oh my God. Yes, of course.
What's next?
I don't know.
Celebrating with friends.
Yeah.
You know, maybe enjoying this for a few weeks before we start, I guess, planning a wedding.
Yeah.
And then try and top this.
Yeah. I love you. I can't believe you did this.
Sit, Mocha, sit. Good dog.
How lucky can one guy be? I kissed her and she kissed me. Like the fella once said, ain't that a kick in the head?